Ready.
Got open man. DJ Moore. End zone. Touchdown. Touchdown Bears.
I am Jeff Joniak.
Blitz is on. Down he goes. Hester.
What was it like playing for Coach Ditka?
I don't want to answer any questions like that.
Pressure coming. He's in big trouble. Down he goes. Montez Sweat.
And
Now, Bears Etc. brought to you by Miller Lite with the voices of the Bears, Jeff Joniak and Tom Thayer.
Well, we're already up to episode 72 of the Bears Etc. podcast. I'm Jeff Joniak, the voice of the Chicago Bears with Super Bowl winning Bears guard Tom Thayer, my partner in crime. We have special guests from time to time, and we have a very special one of my favorite players ever to put out a Bears uniform. He knows it. We are welcoming the one and only Matt Forte, a guy I regard as one of the more underrated running backs in NFL history, despite the fact he put up great numbers. Matt, welcome to the podcast. And appreciate you. Good to see you. You're in good health and everything's good. And we're going to find out what you've been up to, what you think about things in the NFL right now. And this episode is brought to you by Miller Lite. How you feeling, Matt?
I'm doing well. It's a pleasure to see you two guys again. You're bringing back old feelings of a young Matt back in 2008 at Hallis Hall and meeting you guys for the first time. And, seeing how my career has panned out since then. It's a lot of it gives me great honor and pleasure to look back and kind of think about those times at Hallis Hall.
Well, one of the funny things is, Tom, Matt looks exactly as he did as a player in 2008.
Yep.
You're as fit. You got that smile. You got that look, that always professional look to you. So, you're not aging. Maybe a little gray in the beard. That's about it.
Yeah. The beard has come in real thick, and I got the grays coming. That as soon as I turned 30, that happened. But I got 4 kids, and 2 of them are very beautiful girls. So I gotta keep the bicep game going.
Yeah, you sure do. No dad bod there.
It's the new dad bod. That's what I'm claiming. It's the new version of the dad bod. Just because you're a dad doesn't mean you got to have this kind of couch potato look to you. We got to be those dads who intimidate other kids, but then, the ones who you have athletic kids. My goal is to dominate my kids as long as possible. So I got to stay in shape.
Matt, so a lot of us, we kind of look back at our career and we go, our body feels pretty good when we get out of the NFL to the point where we can still be active and keep working out. How does your body feel right now? Any lingering issues, or do you feel, like the ex-athlete you are?
There are obviously lingering things because you just go through so much, deterioration over the years of, especially playing running back, and there's certain things that will pop up randomly, like most recently neck spasms and things like that. And it's like I never had really a lot of neck injuries or anything like that, but I had a few stingers and stuff. But as time, as you age and stuff, I have little joint issues here and there and stuff. But I do try to take care of myself at a high level as I did while playing, especially nutritionally, because what you put in the body is pretty much what fuels it and what you get out of it. And when it comes to joint and like pain management and stuff, what you eat is medicine. It really is. Food is medicine. And so if you're careful about how you eat and what you eat, and you can help yourself out from that aspect. So I do get out of bed and I feel old. Yeah, that's gonna be an honest statement. But at the same time, when I get out of bed and I start to move around and get active, that kind of stiffness and all that goes away a lot faster, and I'm able to continue to work out. And the more you kind of stay active and work out, I continue to stay in good shape on purpose, so that, like I said, dominate my kids, but then also be able to feel good, walking around the house, and then also being outside and stuff, and just the normal activities of the day. And then sometimes I tell my wife, sometimes I'm just so used to being in pain that I don't really know how bad it is sometimes. So therefore, if it does get really, really bad, she kind of recognizes it, and she's like, "Are you feeling all right?" And I'm like, "No, I think I might have to go, to the chiropractor today, or, go get physical therapy or something." But yeah, those things are kind of the day to day.
Matt, Jeff and I are super fortunate. We have been able to broadcast every single one of your games with the Chicago Bears. And when you come aboard the Bears after you get drafted, we kind of like got to wait and see. What is Matt Forte? What is his career going to be like? Where is he going to excel the most? So we got to see your accomplishments of your career. So now Matt Forte meets a rookie running back coming out of college. What advice would you give a player in the modern day NFL running back position?
I give him the advice that my college coach, Greg Davis, gave me, Greg Davis Jr. So he told me when I first came into Tulane, he was like, look, Mawelde Moore is in the NFL. He was 4 years ahead of you. He made it to the league, and this is what you got to do. You got to be an every down running back. You got to be able to run, block, and catch. Running is pretty much instinctive, but there are, nuances to it. Everybody, if you're playing running back, you're probably a natural runner. But when it comes to catching the ball and blocking, that's where you can you can separate yourself. And so when you want to, what you want to do as a running back is be able to separate yourself from the others to say that I'm not just this pigeonhole guy where you can just plug and play. I'm a one-of-a-kind type of running back. And to be able to do that, you have to have the knowledge to get into the passing game to where I would tell the rookie, learn everybody's route. Don't just learn what you have to do. Learn what everybody does. Learn the concept of the offense so that when you're running routes, you're not just running routes to catch the ball. I'm running routes because I know what defense they're in, and I'm running routes to get other guys open if I'm not the first read. And then second of all, the blitz pickup. You got to protect the quarterback at all times. So being able to be back there and being like a second quarterback on the field and recognize blitz formations and their tendencies on defense is something that comes with time, but it's something that's important for a running back to know because you're back there and sometimes you do have to scan both sides of the field.
One of the things that I feel is underrated is your ability to catch the football. You had 554 receptions for almost 4,700 yards and 21 touchdowns in your career with the Bears. That aspect always brought the attention from scouts around the league. Hey, Matt could have been a wide receiver. And I agree with him. You're a tall guy. You were not a 5'9" running back. You're a 6'2" running back, but you were thick and extremely balanced. You were so fine-tuned. Did at any point at Tulane, because you had guys in front of you, and then, boom, your senior year, second in the nation with 2,127 rushing yards and a great, great year at Tulane in 2007, 361 attempts. Did anyone ever try to make you into a wide receiver?
No, they tried to make me a fullback out of high school.
Oh.
They wanted me to block for people, and it's funny. I told I forget what a podcast I was on, but they were like, you weren't very highly recruited, and I was like, no, I was recruited somewhat, but I only was offered a scholarship to Tulane and to McNeese State. But Mississippi State's one of their scouts came by, and I sat down for literally like 10 seconds. It was me, him, and my head coach, Wayne Grubb, and he says, hey, you willing to play fullback? And I go, no. And he was like surprised, thinking I would like go for it because it's SEC, it's Mississippi State and all that. And I was like, no, I'm not playing fullback. And so it was like, all right, I'm headed back to class. But they tried to make me a fullback that way just because I was 6 foot in high school. I was 200 pounds, 205, and they were thinking probably I would get a lot bigger that way. But I think that was my frame, and I just grew into that. And then, when I got to Tulane, they never tried to make me a receiver because I wasn't actually a natural catcher as well. I had to work on the jugs machine a lot. I didn't catch the ball in high school a ton because I was just running the ball a lot. And even when I got to Tulane, we pretty much ran the ball. I was in the spread offense, but and I was involved in it, but I wasn't like a main target. We try to get mismatches on linebackers and stuff like that, but I wasn't running slants or fades and sluggos and like these receiver routes. I was kind of running like the intermediate kind of short routes. And so when I got to the Bears was when I figured out, I was like, man, these guys on defense are really, really good. There may be some days that there's going to be some tough sledding running the ball, and I don't want to be obsolete if they shut the run game down. So I start watching film on receivers. How do they run dig routes? How do they run outs and comebacks? And then focusing on my hands. A couple years in, I realized that you have a dominant eye. I'm right eye dominant because I'm right-handed. So sometimes when I would catch the ball on the left side, I would drop one every now and then because I was just kind of turning too fast. And so I started working on that side. So figuring out your weaknesses and working on those things was one of the things that I got into. But never was offered a position to say, hey, why don't you play receiver? I think that would be interesting too, though, because I'm a physical guy. Like blitz pickup, you're picking up guys that most of the time are going to be bigger than you. If I was at receiver, I don't know. I would imagine being kind of like Anquan Bolden, because he was like a running back type of style as a receiver. Great hands and great route runner, but he was very physical as a runner and a blocker too.
The idea that you thought outside the box a little bit. You thought about your long-term role in the National Football League to even consider that aspect that you're going to dive into in the receiving game, which I know we interviewed you many times. I talked to you many times that I didn't know it was that deep, that you actually studied other receivers and said, hey, listen, man, because to me that's a part of being underrated, in my opinion, that work you put in, right? You polished yourself up annually, correct?
Yeah. It's the NFL is unique in the aspect of talented players can come in and have a good season. Like, it's pretty given. If a guy is highly talented, he can come in and have a really good season. But once they kind of know, especially if you're a rookie, if once they know you and they see you on film and they kind of dissect you as a player, can you stack those seasons together consistently over time, again and again and again? And if they try to take away what you do best, can you reinvent yourself? Can you reinvent yourself to be impactful in a different way? I think that's what separates good players from average and average to good players from great players, is can you reinvent yourself once they kind of figured out what you do and how you go about your game, and they've kind of scouted you a lot. And then the game plan is schemed to stop you. Can you reinvent yourself enough to be still successful?
Hey, Matt, when you look at the running back position, I know Christian McCaffrey just signed a 2-year extension. He's going to make about 19 a year. Then you talk about the importance of making sure you can run the ball, you can catch the ball, and you can block. Do you think, as of recent, the running back position is getting mistreated or under-respected a little bit too much by the outside perception of the position?
Yeah, in the world, perception is reality, and when it comes to football, unfortunately, for the running back position, perception is reality. So, if you notice, the teams who do have a every down running back who's impactful, we can name the Christian McCaffreys, or even, the guys that are strictly runners, that really don't catch that much, but are runners like Derrick Henry. They really impact the game through the running back position, and it's not like you can just put anybody in there to do exactly what they do, or the three-headed monster or the two-headed monster of putting multiple people to do what one guy you would normally pay one guy to do. But it's kind of a cliche thing that is kind of around the league, because just like when they say it's a passing league, passing gets the most highlighted kind of notice or the perception, but most teams, when they go deep into the playoffs or into the Super Bowl, they have to have an effective running game, and they have to use that to control the clock and to eat up time and to grind out those end of the games where you may be up by 3 points or 2 points and you need to run the clock out. Like a 4-minute drill. There's nothing like a team who can execute a 4-minute drill, because they know you're going to run the ball and you're still able to do that. That's how you impose your will on another team, and you just pretty much demoralize them. So like that perception, I kind of think, and I hope it continues to kind of fade away, because as more guys, hopefully they don't look at it from college as a perspective of just being a runner or just being a third down back, but then they try to work on and polish themselves as a complete back, that the position becomes kind of heralded like it should be.
Now that you've been out of the league for a little while and you have a chance to sit back and kind of look at the period of time of your career, there's been a little bit of talk in the last couple of weeks about them excluding OTAs from the offseason. Do you think you're a player that you would like OTAs? Would you not like to go through OTAs and just prepare yourself? Because you never came in unprepared. You know exactly what was expected of you. So what's your feeling about the future of the offseason for the NFL in terms of OTAs or not?
Yeah, I'm kind of torn on that because I know from a coaching perspective, guys are like, nah, we want you in the building. Like, we want you, to be around. And then, especially like when I was there 8 years with the Bears, we had 5 different offensive coordinators. So if you're installing new plays and you're only getting a start in mandatory minicamp or in camp, you're already behind.
Right.
So that's a pro or that's a con to not having OTAs. But at the same time, I've done it both. When I got franchised, I didn't have to show up to OTAs because I wasn't going to sign it, and I just prepared myself. And then I had one of the best seasons that I had ever had, and it just came through personal preparation at the same time. And so, but I was one of those guys. It's like I'm not going to come into camp out of shape. I'm not going to come in and not be prepared because it's going to cost you and it's going to cost the team in the end. So that's from a personal perspective, but from a team, and it's not a personal game. It's a team-oriented game. So I'd have to say, if we're talking about pros versus cons, I gotta go with I would say I would rather OTAs because it's not really super physically demanding on you, and you're getting timing from an offensive perspective, and it's something consistent. I think that we haven't done a lot of analysis on, but it seems like defenses always start like faster throughout the beginning of the season, and then like offensive, even if they have returning veterans, they still kind of have to have a learning curve where they have to catch up. OTAs plays a big part in that, of practice and just getting reps.
Matt, to your point, and I'm with you on this. Tom didn't have to do this when he played, obviously, but he had super hard training camps. It was grueling, double days, all that. But I believe this to be true. I'd have to double check. I think since 2021, I think 90% of the offensive coordinators have changed. So it's constant because if you're good, if your team's good and you are one of these hot OCs, you're getting a head coaching job or you're going to be a candidate for a head coaching job. Which then, you're starting to pull some coaches from that team at positions that are impactful, and now they're going to join. So it's constant change. I would not like to have, in this particular situation with a rookie quarterback, Caleb Williams, despite his success in college at Oklahoma and USC, for several years now, for the next 5 years, not to have to not have OTAs, because I just think that that playbook, they tell me it takes 3 years anyway, right, to understand the whole thing and to really pick up the nuances. So, and maybe because I never played the game, that I'm talking out my you-know-what, but I just think it's very valuable for offense. And like to your point, that timing and the chemistry and getting to know each other.
Yeah, especially, teams with new playbooks and then new quarterbacks, that's always going to be kind of a reoccurring theme, just because that's the nature of the league. There's a lot of turnover in general, especially if you're not winning or if you are winning and those coaches get picked up by a different team. You're going to have to install and go through. I remember when Mike Martz came in, and man, his playbook was gigantic. Like, it was my third year in the league, and I was like, I've been through 2 seasons. I kind of know the playbook and stuff. And then he comes in, and his is, not super complicated from a terminology aspect, but he had every play ran from 5 different formations and then from different personnel groups. And so as a halfback, you had to know the H and the F. And so, man, it started to get like, where do you line up? And so OTA, if we didn't have OTAs, we probably would have used a fourth of the playbook.
Interesting. We are brought to you by PNC, official bank of the Bears, and tastes like Miller time, celebrating responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. Before we get into the current day Bears, Tommy, I got to give them props. there's certain things that you forget, okay? He was the first Pro Bowl Bears running back, which happened after the 2011 season. Since who, Tom?
Neil Anderson?
Correct. 1991. The gap for an organization that that owns Walter Payton and his legacy and some great backs of the past. I had forgotten that. 204 yards short of 10,000 in your career. I don't know if you were into numbers, but would have that meant something to you, be a 10K back?
I thought about it, and when I decided to retire, it didn't mean as much to me because when I was playing with the Jets and that last year, you guys are probably getting exclusive here. I didn't practice the last like 7 games of the 7 weeks of the season because I had a bone bruise in my right knee, and it would swell up like every day. And so I wouldn't practice throughout the week, and I would do treatment and get on the anti-gravity treadmill and continue my conditioning. At that point, I knew all the plays, and I was good in the passing game and all that stuff and blitz pickup. So I wouldn't practice, but then before the game, I would get my knee drained and then play in the game, and then afterwards I'd get it drained. And so, man, it became just kind of the grind of that to play the game, and like even to practice, I was taking the super anti-inflammatory pills, which after a while that's probably not good for your gut. And I'm taking those just to go to practice. And so when the season ended, and I actually even got some stem cell in it, and it didn't it did well as far as like how it recovered, but it just wasn't enough as a running back should have to be able to make people miss. And I know I could have played 1 or 2 more seasons, but at the same time, at what cost? Because if you're not able to dodge people like I'm used to doing, you're taking harder hits, you're taking more hits more often, and then you're getting beat up somewhere else. So when it came down to it, I was like, my health and enjoying the family, or 204 yards. And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to go with the family.
Good decision. So let's take a look at the modern day Bears, because I've been thinking about this as I sit out there and watch practice. And between Roma Dunze and DJ Moore and Keenan Allen and Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett and DeAndre Swift and the whole running back position. I don't know if you've ever been on a team or if you saw some of those pressures that have been put on a quarterback about you got to make sure the team is not selfish and somebody wanting so many touches a game, somebody wanting so many targets a game. So does that pressure fall on the shoulders of the coaching staff? Does some of it fall on Caleb, or do you just have to have an offensive team that has no selfishness within it?
It has to be so first it falls on both the coaching staff and Caleb, but it has to be the rhetoric or the kind of like the mindset of the team from the coaches down have to be, hey, this unselfish type of offense. We have playmakers all over the place, but there's one football to go around. And I used to tell the guys who would complain about touches or catches during the game, hey, come play running back. You want 25, 30 touches a game, come play running back. You want to play receiver, you're going to get, 5, 8, maybe 10 on a good day. But you want all these touches, play running back then. But then they don't want to get in the trenches though. But it has to be the kind of the perspective of the coaches on down that this is an unselfish team, and it has to come through leadership too. Sometimes you do, as it's the NFL, you got personalities everywhere, and some people are more arrogant than others, and some people want their touches because they're trying to get another contract or they're trying to parlay that into free agency, whatever their motive may be. But when it comes down to veteran leadership on your team, that's when you got to take over. And that's when a quarterback who, even if you're a rookie, that's when you step in and you're like, look, I'm the one in charge of throwing the ball, and I'm throwing it who's open. I don't care if you got 2 catches and, you trying to make a bonus and this and that. Yeah, if we get late in the season and you trying to make, we might try to get you the ball or whatever, but we're trying to win games. We're trying to get to the Super Bowl. That's the main goal.
With all your experiences in the NFL, and we all had a chance to look at C.J. Stroud and the success he had last year, does that increase your expectations for Caleb Williams, or do you still temper your expectations for a rookie quarterback?
Yeah, it gives me encouragement, because I know that it can be done at a high level early, and that just because you're a rookie, you don't have to have that mindset to go in. Speaking to Caleb personally, saying like, you don't have to think that way, like, oh, I'm just a rookie. No, go in and go in like with the confidence that you're gonna go in like you've done this your whole life, and play that way. I think it's a combo effort. It has to be on him, and then the coaches being able to prepare him and scheme other teams to, and having an identity as an offense. Like, okay, we got all these parts and pieces. I've been on teams that, we had Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey, myself, Martellus Bennett, Zach Miller was on the other side as well. It was like, man, we had Johnny Knox, Devin Hester. Like, we had a lot of talented guys on the offense, but sometimes we get middle of the season and it's like, all right, we haven't had an identity for 8 weeks. What do we do best? And then we find that and actually go do it, and we start stacking up games. And sometimes by then it was too late. But identifying what you do best on offense and what your playmakers do best, and put them in a position to make those plays.
Well, one of the big things in that vein is that really good defensive coordinator is going to take away what you do best. That includes maybe just loading up against the run and forcing your quarterback to make plays, or just wiping out, wide receiver one or tight end one, whatever the case may be. That's when the unselfishness kicks in. Hey, I got you this week. They're going to take you away. We're going to do something, or the coordinator's going to game plan it away, knowing that say it's Belichick. That's what he did best. Took away the best option. Somebody else beat us. And they happen to have the weapon of Tom Brady to overcome anything that they couldn't overcome from just a coaching perspective. But just because you have the best talent doesn't mean you're ever going to find that identity. And you're banking. And I'll throw both of you guys, because Tom played on a team that was super confident in itself as a whole, and then individually you had personality after personality. Everybody looking for money too at the same time, right? That was a very successful run for the mid 80 to early 90 Bears. You're counting on that chemistry to be unselfish, and that's what I appreciate about Ryan Poles, because he's finding guys that he believes have that team mindset, that this culture is about playing for the guy next to you. And I don't think it's just cliche. You really got to, and you don't know until it's all here. But I know you, Matt. I know those guys who play in that team. Not everybody had that kind of mindset at times, and then that's when things get a little hairy for winning and losing. You know what I mean?
Speaking of culture, like that's a main thing that's important, and it's not cliche. It's actually true. It's just used a lot. What's the culture of the team, or what's the culture in the locker room?
Matt, people on the outside often make jokes about that. Oh, culture. I don't buy it. It's about talent. Well, no, it's not just about talent.
No, it's not. I've been on greatly talented teams with terrible cultures, and the record reflected it. And when it comes to culture, it's something that has to be cultivated. Like, it's literally in the word culture. Like, cultivate. It has to be cultivated. And when you cultivate something, that's like farming, where you plant a seed and you water it and it don't grow overnight. It has to take time. So the same thing, when it comes to a team, when you have a lot of turnover from front office down, you really can't create a culture. It can't be cultivated. I like that Ryan has that mindset of, we got to cultivate this in the right way too. And then when you set standards, your leaders are the ones who set the standard on the team, rookie or 10-year vet. Those are the guys who set the standard, and you set it super high. And if you do something, or we run a drill, or we're in camp, even though it's hot and we're tired, and we do it something that's below the standard, you got to be of the mindset to say, do it again, or we're going to stay after practice and figure that out. Because it's not, we'll get it next time. Because the next time you probably won't get it, and then you're gonna say it again, next time, and then the standard just keeps lowering and lowering and lowering.
I got to backtrack a second here because I think of you because you're a lot younger than I am. And so you're that college or you're that high school kid and you're sitting in the room and Mississippi State comes in and says, hey, Matt, we want you to play fullback and we're willing to pay you $500,000 a year to come and do it. Do you because, you and I came from an era where, the only glory you got out of it was your scholarship, just like you did. But now when you think about these kids and the offers they're getting and the decisions they have to make and the transfer portal, would it give you any consideration of difference of position or difference of school?
No, especially at fullback. I was like, man, I'm not blocking for guys. Like, I'd be wasting what the good Lord has given me
Right.
to
100
block for somebody else. Fullbacks don't rush for 2,000 yards, but at the same time, I've never been one who wanted to be hypocritical or like to sell out. And when you be selling yourself out, like I'm gonna take this money and then I'll just play fullback for a couple, and then you might stifle what you're actually gonna probably make in the long run. But it is a tough situation, I was blessed to have both parents, and my dad had a really a decent job at Shell Oil Company for 36 years that he kept. $500,000 is a lot of money, and at the time, my dad probably been like, "Hey, boy, you better go get some linebackers and start eating some more potatoes or something." But I would have been, my integrity, personally, just wouldn't let me sleep at night. I don't think to do that, but I feel for the college kids now because you are at a younger age, your frontal lobe is not even developed, and your decision making is not critical thinking enough. So you dangle a little change in front of them that probably in the long run could be made on the back end, and they might go for it right now.
I felt really bad for Neil Anderson when he was drafted in the first round out of Florida by the Chicago Bears as a halfback. They came in his second year in the program. They got rid of Matsui, and Neil played fullback for a year, and that was not the position that he was built for, especially at the NFL level. And then when they converted him back to a halfback, he went on to have an all-pro career. So I can see by the special breed of athletes that you guys are, that once you have the conviction of being a ball carrier for double-digit carries per game, that's what you guys are committed to. So I'm glad to hear what your answer was, but I see the difficulty in some of these kids having to make a decision with the money that they're being offered at a high school age.
Yeah, absolutely, and some from different backgrounds that have the immediate need of some financial support. So not gonna sit here and knock it as if that's not true, but it's a tough situation.
It's a great point.
When it's time to tackle some game day deals, then go with the grocer who's been a part of Chicago since 1899. Jewel Osco, the official grocery store of the Chicago Bears. Number 34 on the 100 greatest Bears of all time. How fitting, right? In honor of Walter Payton, the number 34. Number 34, I don't know if you put that together, Matt, as you look back from that day a couple years back when they celebrated the 100. But, yeah, top 40 Bear? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Yeah, at first I was like 34, and I was like, well, it's a good number to be, 34.
Right. Well, when you're talking about a century plus, that's pretty good. That's a century plus of players. With that being said, as a rookie running back and hearing about Walter Payton and the Payton Award nationally in the building, the Piccolo Award, another fullback that blocked for Gale Sayers, halfback as well before that from Wake Forest. Did that matter to you that you were coming to the organization that had who many believe is the greatest player of all time?
Yeah, absolutely. When I got drafted, my college roommate and best friend at the time, Michael Parrington, he's a scout with the Saints now, actually. He bought me the book and the movie Brian Song. And he was like, hey, I know you've probably never seen this because, we from South Louisiana. He's like, hey, check this out. And so I watched that before even coming up to camp and rookie mini camp and all that stuff. And so just knowing the history of the Bears and the prestige of running back specifically for that position, it encouraged me like to show up like the first day as super professional as always, but then to hold the respect and honor of playing running back in that position, to go out every day, every game, and like give it your all.
If I could put a running back in a three-piece suit and have him play the game like Matt Forte played in a three-piece suit, that's the guy that I would pick, would be Matt Forte, because he took everything professionally. And it'd be too long to get into all the details about how he got his body ready, but at a certain point in your career, you knew you had to take care of it in a way that most people couldn't do or wouldn't do. They wouldn't take the time to do after every game, before games. And whenever that clicked for you to do that, it probably helped you be the man you are today physically and mentally and spiritually, because you were down to every single detail, which there are many players like that now. I wouldn't say everyone, but I did see your good friend Anthony Adams in a Omega workout club with was that in California? He's doing something. I don't even know what that is, but he's working hard. He's taking care of the body now. He's looking good. But was that the key, honestly, to your career?
Yeah, I think consistency was something that has always been important, and it's something that will give you longevity. Spurts of or flashes of greatness here and there get people excited, and it may be flashy, but if you can come out and be consistent, I can count on this guy every single day. That's what makes a difference, and I took very much pride in doing that.
Have you ever returned to kickoff in high school or college? And the reason I'm asking that is because of the return of the kickoff return in the NFL. I think throughout this season, it's going to be one of the most exciting plays in every single game throughout the entire season. First of all, did you ever return a kickoff, and are you aware of the differences and in the configuration of kickoff and kickoff return?
Yeah. In high school, early on, I did a few of those, and I loved it actually, because it's almost like you're getting a draw. And there's like everybody's dropped, and then you get the ball and you got to pick your lanes. And so it just requires a lot of vision, and that was the great thing about Devin. He had great vision, but the skill to cut and speed to get through everywhere. So I enjoyed that. But then like once I got to senior year and then college, they were like, nah, they were like afraid that you get hurt on kickoff,
right,
and won't be good, there for the game. So I kind of got ousted from special teams, but I think it's going to be exciting too. They had moved it up to where everything was a touchback. So but it's a major play in the game, and you can't just take that away. And so now with it being obviously safer, because I guess they're closer and not running from so far away, to the collisions aren't as bad, but you still get to do the play. I like that aspect because it's an actual football play, and you can't just eliminate that.
Oh, I think it's going to be one of the most exciting things about the 2024 NFL season, is because, you go back and you look at the Super Bowl with no kickoffs returned, and now you come back to this updated NFL version. Hopefully a majority of the kickoffs this season will be returned. And I know Jeff has a number of how many plays it's going to increase in the NFL. It's going to be exciting. 1,600.
That's what the guess is. 1,600 new plays.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the creativity because, like Dave Tobe, I used to, especially when I was a rookie, sitting in on the special teams meetings, and he had all kind of schemes and blocking schemes and stuff set up for Devin, and it was interesting. So I want to see how they are gonna change those things or try to create some nuances in that part of the game.
Vizzy Hard Seltzer, flavors for every vibe. Celebrate responsibly. Molson Coors Beverage Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And we're brought to you by PNC, official bank of the Bears. Remaining moments with Matt Forte. So, as a good friend of Devin Hester, will you be in Canton supporting the the newest Hall of Fame Bear, like Tom is for Steve McMichael, legendary defensive tackle, and of course Julius Peppers, your teammate as well, had a great impact on that 2010 team. Will you be there? And what is the mindset of Pep and Hester right now, if you have shared recent conversations?
Yeah, definitely got to be there for those guys, man. Me and Devin were lockers right next to each other for many years, and played some good years with Pep and against Pep too. So be fun to be down there and talk about some old locker room stories and all that stuff. And then Devin is super excited. Texted with him most recently, and it's something like a dream come true for him. But we all were rooting for him to go first ballot, just because of there's nobody that has done it like he has. But glad he got to be able to get in early enough. But yeah, we'll be there to support him.
He's definitely a guy that deserves it. That's a great thing about Devin Hester and the excitement of the return of the kickoff return. I think he's gonna be one of the most applauded guys up there, because you just don't see these guys come to the Hall of Fame podium very often that have just developed a Hall of Fame considered niche. And I'm glad to see an ex-Chicago Bear and Devin Hester getting the honor that he's earned. It's not something that's graciously given to him. He's earned this opportunity, and that's why he's going to be up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Devin definitely earned it, and I'm just, thinking about Soldier Field. It's one of the hardest places to catch punts and kickoffs, man. Like the Windy City and all that, and he did it here. And obviously on away games, it's different, but at home he had a lot of great highlights, and he was the reason behind a lot of the success that we had, both as an offense and a special teams weapon, but then as a team in general, because those you steal a touchdown here and there, that allows you to win games.
Right. All right, some quick hitters to let you go. Jogging some memory here. Number one, you were a finance major. Did you use it? Have you used it?
Yeah. I mean, as a fact, I've used it because I don't so much manage my own money or anything like that, or work in a bank or something like that, or investment firm. But you do have to steward what you have earned in the right way, and so that's one of the things that I'm proud of, and that's part of the reason why I took finance classes, was to be able to do that. And I was betting on myself going to the NFL and being able to do that, and then to be able to give back to the younger generation of NFL players, because 3 years post retirement is a bad statistic of 80% being broke and divorced. So that's one of the things I'm most proud of, is like using it to be able to impart wisdom on the younger generation.
Wow, that's a stat I didn't know.
Yep.
That's frightening. 80%?
80%.
Oh, my goodness. Philanthropically, you're doing that as well. I know you've been you wanted to stay in this city. You want to give back to the city. So what's the latest in your life? What are you doing in that regard, and just in general?
Yeah, What's Your Forte Foundation has continued to grow, especially get a good footprint here in the city. Started it while I was playing, because I kept seeing after sports, it talked about how many people were shot over the weekend. And so gun violence prevention has been near and dear to me, because when I was at Tulane as a freshman, a guy who was a senior, Brandon Spencer, who was a hometown kid, was about to go to pro day and possibly get drafted or maybe get into a camp and stuff, and he was murdered. And that, going to his funeral, and not just to him being a teammate, but a hometown guy, and about to change the trajectory of his family and his own life, was ended due to senseless gun violence. And so when I came here, I was like, this got to be a purpose of mine, to impact the youth here, to let them know that there's a life outside of the block that they grew up on, and that there's many different avenues to be successful, not just sports and entertainment and music. And so that's what the What's Your Forte Foundation does, is we expose them to these areas of, many entrepreneurship, financial industry, aviation, culinary, all of these things that have great avenues to be successful in different ways. And then put something in their hand that's lucrative for them to do, and it's a skill, then they'll put the guns down.
Because of the preponderance of it, does it ever feel insurmountable?
Yeah, I used to really get overwhelmed doing it. It's like, are the kids that I'm helping, is it worth it? Even if it's 5 of them who showed up, and so I came to the point and the realization that what if that one kid was me, and if I help him out, then he can in turn go, when he grows up, help a bunch of people. Then I may be planting the seeds of trees that I'll never get to sit under the shade, but it'll help somebody else out down the road. So that used to overwhelm me, but then I came to the realization that doing good is doing good, whether it's one person or whether it's millions of people that you're impacting.
Tommy, we've seen so many players come through over the last 28 years in this organization that give back, and that's a quote I'm never going to forget, because that's a great one right there. And I know, Tommy, you have a big heart as well with the folks in Joliet. You help and give as much as you possibly can. Pro football players in particular, there's just something about you players, current and former, that I got to give you a tip of the cap.
I know Matt was using the word cultivate a little while ago, and now it's kind of spinning in my head why he was talking about the word cultivating, because growing those ideas in the kids that he's helping, it's a great job by you, Matt, and congratulations for what you're doing.
Yeah, appreciate that. It's part of the paying your debt back, as well as what I've been blessed with. So it's my joy to do that, and I love doing it. I mean, you see the look on these kids' faces, and I remember one of the kids was surprised because I came back to the neighborhood. He was like, "Oh, it's like you came back," and that's something that should be a normal, but it's not. But I've been having fun, man. Doing that. I've been I got my athletic clothing line. The Workhorse 22 apparel that I've been developing that. So I've been doing some entrepreneurial stuff myself as well. Got a book coming out. This is a children's book that me and my daughter wrote, and it's called My Hair Can. It comes out September 3rd. It's available for pre-order, but it releases September 3rd. And we talked about hair, because hair comes in all different shapes, sizes, and colors, and haircuts and styles and all that, just like people do. And for young people to embrace their own unique, natural, style is important, because if they value themselves, they'll value other people. And so me and my daughter wrote this book because she was at school and a kid said something about her hair and about her skin color. And so it was a negative comment. And so I wanted to turn something that was negative, that could have, created a lot of harm, into something positive. And so we took the pain of that and turned it into purpose, and we came out with My Hair Can, being published by Tyndale, and it's dropping September 3rd. It's going to be great, and it's a really cool book. The illustration is amazing in it, and the authorship is okay by myself.
Daughter's name, and how old is she now?
She's Nala, and she's 11.
Wow, that's fantastic. She'll never forget that. You'll never forget that. And maybe it spawns a whole collection of books.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tom would be the no hurricane.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey,
Well,
Tom, I was there too. I used to shave it, and I went and had to get it back.
Yeah. Well, if I was a younger guy, I would do the Urlacher, but I'm willing to go with the Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So if this was about you to kind of capsulize your life, what would the title be?
You may have to come back to me another day on that one. I have no clue.
You can text me sometime.
Yeah, I'll send you a text.
It's a lot to
Hey, Matt.
It's a lot to drop on you and think about, actually.
I just call it Forte.
Hey, in big bold letters.
Yeah.
Matt, will you and your daughter do an audio version of the book?
Yeah, I gotta ask the Tyndale people about that. It's available in English and Spanish, so audio should.
No, you got to. You guys got to read it together and do the audio version.
Yeah, we should do that. That's a good idea. Thank you for that.
We'll be looking forward to it. Matt Forte, our guest, and we are brought to you by Miller Lite. Tastes like Miller time. Go to MillerLite.com/BearsPod to find delivery options near you. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. Hope we didn't take too much of your time, but you're too interesting of a guy not to. And like I told Zach Miller the other day, it's never too long when you're talking to friends. So good to see you, Matt. And thank you so much. Some great stuff there. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Good to see y'all again, and look forward to seeing y'all in person.
You got it.
Yeah,
we'll hope
you,
to
Matt.
see you out at Soldier Field for what hopes to be a memorable 2024 campaign. Special thanks to Matt. For Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak. Thanks for listening, everyone. Please subscribe now on the Chicago Bears official app to the Bears Etc. podcast. Also, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Bear down, everybody.